Hey everybody, welcome back to Java Chat. This is gonna be another fun one. Have a real interesting interview lined up for you today with a young gentleman here by the name of Shaun Clark. Guy over here on the left of the screen. He is one of the three co-founders for a company called GoHighLevel, which we happen to be clients of. And I reached out to Shaun and I said, "Hey, would you mind coming and hanging out for a cup of coffee and giving me some perspective?" And he said, "Yeah, why not? Sure." So, Shaun, thanks for joining me on Java Chat.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
I got a compliment on the Casablanca poster behind you.
Thanks.
That is for, I'm a classics dude. So cars, movies, love them. I saw that, and the first thing I thought of was the dance competition between James Cagney and Bob Hope. It was a private dining hall. And they were dancing on the table. They were doing soft shoeing. And I never knew that he could do that. I mean, I was like, this is gangster, man. The man dances like almost as good as, if not better than Bob Hope. That's pretty damn good.
That is pretty damn good. It's hard to beat Bob Hope.
Considering he was back in that day, he could dance.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, you couldn't fake it back then. There was no special effects.
Not a lick. I think the best special effects was if they held a sparkler in front of a camera.
Yeah, exactly.
So where are you guys based out of?
All over the place. So I'm in Eugene, Oregon, which is a little college town in Oregon, and there's no one else here but me, and then the rest of the team as well, in pretty much every state and country you can imagine.
That's amazing. So and you're obviously you're .com, so you're anywhere anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we don't care. Well, and I've been working remotely for 10 years now, so it's not a new thing for me.
Yeah, that's a cool deal. I just got a note from somebody saying that they wanted to come and join the live, and they're still out. They're still out on the road. They're like, I gotta get home. I want to see this does happen once in a while. It's kind of funny. Let me turn off the notifications. Oh my god.
No worries. I trust me. I totally understand how that goes.
Oh, I'm sure you do, buddy. I mean, the mere fact that. Well, so how did you guys come up with this concept? For one, I mean, go high. Okay.
Yeah.
Share what it is, and then how you came up with it.
So it is everything that a marketing agency needs to run its business in one spot, and not just for itself, but also for its clients. So it's really an all-in-one marketing automation, CRM, phone system, you name it, sort of all-in-one sort of marketing tool from a software perspective.
Right.
That both a small business needs, but provided through a marketing agency, which is a little funny, but yeah, that's what it is.
And why'd you guys come up with that? What was the? I mean, there's a lot of. Let me clarify. There's a lot of all-in-one systems. Yours is actually, and I was referred to you. I'm surprised I didn't find you guys, but I've seen a lot of.
We're terrible marketers ourselves, so that doesn't surprise me.
What is it with us? We're really good at marketing everybody else but ourselves.
Oh no, yeah, I can't. Well, I'm actually not even good at marketing other people, so that makes me don't laugh, right? But luckily, I have some really amazing customers who help spread the word. So that's how we market. Yeah,
and well, it still goes back to the old thing of if you've already gotten to word of mouth, brother, you're doing pretty dang good. I mean,
yeah, well, I mean, I think it's also a good test of whether or not you're reaching somebody. I mean, there's lots and lots of SaaS companies, and I'm very familiar with SaaS, but who spend a lot of other people's money most of the time, and instead of buying better engineering or better software or whatever it is, they're just fielding massive sales teams to pound on phones all day to try to sell product, and that to me is not the way to go.
Well, that may have been effective back in the 80s and 90s. Times have definitely changed, and they're changing again, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So you have two other co-founders with you.
Yep, that's right.
How'd you guys meet?
Let's see. So my first co-founder, Varun, who's my technical co-founder, he and I'm a software engineer by trade, and he and I worked together at a previous company. And so I just got to meet him as he ran one of the teams that I was responsible for, and he was exceptional then, and he's even more exceptional now. So when I had a chance to work with him and he happened to be free, I thought I counted myself very lucky. So I jumped at the chance. And then my second co-founder actually is the person who brought the entire idea of this business to us the way it is today. And he came to us through one of our very first customers. And he, kind of opened our eyes to the market that we're in today. And so he's really a foundational person in that regard.
So between the three of you and Varun came up with the actual.
So actually, so Varun and I had the idea to help small businesses succeed and through software. And really, my prior, which sounds kind of hokey, but my prior SaaS company that I sold was in the accounting space, and I got to see lots and lots and lots of financials of small businesses because I was helping them collect.
Oh sure, yeah.
And when I would just talk to them, like I'm kind of like I'm always interested in business. I'm really kind of a business nerd. So just ask people like, well, what's your biggest challenge in your business? They walk, and it was amazing. And I had 1,000 customers in probably 70 different verticals or 100 different verticals, and I would they would all say the same thing. They'd be like, well, I just need to get more customers. And I thought, well, gosh, if that's your biggest challenge, after I sold that SaaS company, I thought, well, maybe I should try to take that challenge on. And so Varun and I got together and we're like, well, let's see what we can do. What would help businesses? And so we started brainstorming. Reputation management is really important. Let's put reviews out there. Oh, but they also need to be able to communicate with their customers. Let's put two-way text out there. And we started going along, and it was fine. But the problem we ran into is as we added more features, customers had a harder and harder time figuring out how to use the product. And we're like, oh gosh, this doesn't make sense. But we couldn't figure out how to make it any more automated or magical or easy than we had. And so we were really stuck at the time. And lucky for us, one of our customers that we had in common also had hired a marketing agency. And that marketing agency called us to say, hey, we need to figure out how your product works. We kind of give them a demo, and they were like, wow, this is amazing. And we totally understand it. And we see the potential. And to us at the time, particularly me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. Having somebody say that they see what you're trying to do is pretty validating.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, it really then became apparent, well, wait, let's not focus on the small business owner who doesn't have the time anyways to do any of this stuff. Let's focus on the marketing professional who's really the right person for that job.
Right. That becomes a more of a, you built I almost want to say a perfect market stack for, MarTech stack, if you will, for agencies. Because when I first was introduced to it, by the way, it's Dan Kurtz that sent me to you.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll say thanks to Dan.
Yeah, Dan's a good guy. He's been helping us out a lot. He helped me out last night again to figure out how to build a couple of quick funnels using the snapshots.
Oh, cool.
By the way, guys,
awesome.
Anybody that's listening to this, if you haven't heard of GoHighLevel, go look them up, GoHighLevel.com. Go check a demo, do something, schedule something, go look, especially if you're a marketing person. If you want to take a lot of the heavy lifting off your shoulders, this is probably the best that you're going to get. And I've seen a ton of SaaS platforms. I worked in some stuff in Silicon. I actually am an investor in a tech company right now. It's not a SaaS company, but there's nothing like what you guys have out there. I mean, well, everybody touts the all-in-one, but not really.
Well, I think there's something special about focusing on a particular vertical and really trying to build out for that. I think that's the future of all software, to be honest, is, if you think offline is very vertical focused. You go to, doctors go to doctor conventions and buy doctor equipment and, do doctor stuff. They very rarely go out and do either generic stuff or stuff in another field, right? And I feel like software needs to kind of follow suit, and that's what we're doing.
I think what you guys did was you actually predicted where things were going. Well, so when did GoHighLevel start?
Gosh, we just answered that question this morning. We technically incorporated July of 2018.
So you're young. My goodness, you're young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And approximate, how many clients do you already have? Using clients as licensed agents.
Yeah, so the way we think about it is we look at the agencies themselves, and then we look at the end users, the end small businesses. So we've got about 50,000 small businesses on the platform now.
Already in 2 years.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal. You hit the right spot. See, I was thinking about that. Excuse me one second. Full allergies.
Oh, I know the feeling.
And you're in Eugene.
Yeah, it's a big bowl of allergy.
Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas. We got dust and pollen. I get the double whammy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I get it year round.
Yeah, I bet. At least it's dry.
Yeah, well, it's been a little wet around here lately.
I suspect your version of a little wet differs from my version of a little wet.
Your version of what keeps the waterfalls flowing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
My version of what actually creates one in about 5 minutes that you don't see coming.
That's true. It's true. It's like it all just dumps on in 1 second, right? Yeah, we don't get any of that here.
Yeah.
But it's just constant. It
Yeah,
never stops.
we have this thing called bursts that just dump hundreds of thousands of gallons in like 10, 20 minutes, and then it's gone, and it's
That's
sunny
crazy.
again.
Although
Yeah.
I don't know, I might prefer that.
I, you prefer it until you get back into the hello. I live right next to a street that used to be a side street.
Oh no.
Right up until they built a school behind us.
Okay.
It's not become a thoroughfare.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now that's how people get to the school.
Everybody knows it now. It's like, oh, I'll just take a shortcut down Dave.
Yep. There you go. Now you're the shortcut. Nobody ever likes to be the shortcut.
And all the ambulances know it too, and they come flying. I'm actually surprised he was letting his siren off. Most of them let a blare going through. So anyway, okay. So 2 years. In the 2 years, what have been your biggest challenges that you've had to overcome, and how'd you do it?
Gosh, I think it's a combination of scaling stuff up. So, the thing that worked yesterday for 50 people isn't going to work the same for 5,000 people. And, right. And it's really about how do you build the car as you drive it? So how do you continue to scale the software up? How do you make sure you're also, and it's a combination of things. It's scaling, it's adding big new features, which big new features to add, and then also making sure the features you've already launched are continuing to enhance. So it's just trying to balance all three of those together in the right combination, I'd say, is probably our biggest challenge.
And at the point of 50,000 on the platform, I would imagine you're on version 15 by now, if not more.
We don't. Yeah, I mean, we don't even version things anymore, really. I mean, we probably. It's probably been 30,000 releases at this point. I mean, we push out new code and new features and new releases, if not daily, at least probably every 3 or 4 days.
How big's the team then?
50 people.
For a 2-year-old company with 50,000 clients, that's impressive.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting. I got to say, it's way bigger than I ever thought it would be at this point, and I'm pretty excited about that. But we're also very fortunate, very lucky, and we have an incredible customer base that I think is really the number one way we've gotten here. I mean, it's not just we've been able to go out and acquire customers and profitably and that kind of thing. I think just the actual kind of customer we have is different. I mean, I think they're extremely passionate, motivated individuals. They're entrepreneurs themselves. We're trying to help them create value in their business and make more money. And I think we're actually being super successful at that. And I think that's a huge difference. I mean, I think we're a way that our customer can make more money. And I think that's something that really drives our ethos and has helped push our company a lot faster than maybe something where somebody says, well, like accounting software. Well, I got to have it, but I'll go get it. But I just don't like it. It doesn't excite me.
Yeah, for me, it's the difference between having to open up QuickBooks and getting to open up GoHighLevel.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot more fun, right? I mean, it's I think it was the CEO of, I'm trying to remember. It was actually accounting software. He said, most software is either a crayon or an aspirin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said and he was saying it's a big account. It's like a QuickBooks competitor, but they're out of Canada. They're like more on the really small business side. FreshBooks, that's what it was.
FreshBooks, I heard them. Yeah.
And he said my software is an aspirin. You just take it to make a headache go away. But he said, but what I love, and so when I listened to that, I said the last thing I ever want to do is create any more aspirin products. So I want to be in the crayon business. I want to help people draw out their features and create things that are amazing, and that's kind of what we're trying to do.
What's interesting too, though, is that you haven't just given people a crayon. You've kind of given people a paint by number, which is really cool. And to explain that for those of you that are listening and watching, they have these things called snapshots, which are extremely insightful templates, if you will, of whole deals, like not just campaigns, but triggers and campaigns and marketing and example ads from other agencies. I mean, when you go into GoHighLevel, you have this ability to really take the crayon, color it in, And that whole point about you helping your clients make money, you're not just doing it because you have an affiliate program too, which thank you, by the way, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're happy about that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but it's not about the affiliate program, which is what a lot of the other all-in-ones like to tout. We have an affiliate program. We'll teach you how to sell our deal. I'm trying to sell my deal. Why am I
Yeah,
trying to
right.
sell your deal
Exactly.
too?
Totally.
You guys have created a platform where we can sell our deal. You've made it easier for us to, hell, if we have to outsource anything, we can.
Yep.
And know that it's going to get done in a well enough fashion that it will be effective for our clients.
Right.
I would think that would drive an affiliate much more than just, here, we'll teach you how to sell our stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess that's another big difference with us and everybody else. We're not trying to get you to sell us to your customers or to sell us, period. We're trying to get you to sell your stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anybody doesn't know this already, we're almost exclusively white label. In fact, we would like to say we're 100% white label. The only time we're not white label is people just don't set it up for whatever reason. But I mean, our mission is to empower our customer to make more money literally directly by selling something.
Right.
And so, I mean, to me, that's the most important thing. Like my goal every day is like, all right, listen, how do we do something today that helps our customer make more money? Because to me, it's simple math. Like if I help you make more money, somehow I can get paid in the process.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good things will follow for me. I didn't have to think about how. It just happens. And so that's 100% our goals. Like, how do we help you generate more revenue today?
In your journey from 2018 to today,
Yeah.
what have been some of the fun things that you've experienced? Whether they're silly stories or just, like,
I would say
we hit it,
just meeting so many people who came to me and said, I have no clients and I don't know what I'm doing and I have no money and I'm really struggling to, talking to some of these people 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, I've quit my job. I'm doing $10,000 a month. I'm doing $50,000 a month. It's been amazing. I'm not only just meeting my financial goals, but I'm doing things I never imagined I could do. I have a retirement account now. Like I'm out of debt. Like like it's just amazing to watch all these people build businesses. And then if you look behind the business, and I think this is the most important thing, the way by which they're doing it is extremely noble. Their charge is to go out and help someone else in their business grow. So it's literally enabling people to help other people. And I think that's a fantastic way to live your life. I mean, there's a lot of like get rich quick schemes and a lot of like go make money online things where the thing you're actually doing is not very cool at the end of the day, or it's in some way very scammy. But for what we do, I mean, empowering people to be digital agencies have the charge of helping their customers make more money. And so it's a cool thing to watch, and it's a cool thing to be part of.
That's one of the interesting things too, is when I was looking at some of the snapshots, one thing I didn't see in there were info products.
Yeah.
And I was extremely impressed with that, because most of the other all-in-ones, that's what they say: go build a tribe and go sell them information.
Yeah.
Okay, and how's that supposed to really help improve someone's life other than to shift them over to your way of thinking?
Right.
If I'm a pizza shop, I don't need information. I need customers.
Yep, absolutely.
How do I get more? If I'm a software company, I need more customers. I don't need more information.
Yep.
So to me, it's like, now that's a conflict in philosophies as well. Okay, people do want information out there. They're buying it, and that's fine. That's a good market. Feel free. But when you're talking about guys like us, me being a marketer since, I don't know, late 90s, I'm kind of old. I'm
getting there. Don't worry.
You're probably quite a few years behind me. I don't look my age, thankfully.
I hope I can say the same thing.
Well, with this, everybody calls me just about the right age. Without all of this, right. There you go. I'm in my mid 30s. It's like, okay, cool. I'll take that.
Yeah, right. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, but I think what a lot of people might miss is that, and it doesn't matter what philosophy you want to follow. If you want to go sell info products, please go ahead and do that. You're going to make money. People want the information. Give the market what they want. Duh. But there wasn't anything like this. not that I've seen until now, which I'm very glad for Dan and I being friends and connected. And by the way, Dan's in Florida and I'm here in Las Vegas. And he said, go grab GoHighLevel. I'm like, what's that? It's just go get it. Trust me, go get it, pick it up, take a look at it. As soon as you get it, open it up, start going through the tutorials. As soon as I opened it up, and I've had 2 conversations with Chase, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and guy's phenomenal. Real happy that I had the time to chat with him. My business partner, same story. And shit, you guys got so much stuff in you guys got so much stuff in this thing. It's like, okay, all I gotta do is retype this? No, come on. You serious?
Hmm.
I mean, last night
Absolutely.
I was up till 12 last night working on working on a reverse mortgage funnel. And just going through the campaign behind it, even though most of it's automated through the funnel itself.
Yeah.
And looking for a phone call to book an appointment. So it's like, okay.
Well,
And
I mean, that's the whole idea, is to try to help. I mean, if we think about who we're serving, right? It's the small business owner. And what have we said? The small business owner is super busy. So as much as we can
mitigate.
automate that and
Yeah.
make it easy and simple, that's the whole idea. And I think that the the reason why I think the marketing agencies are such unsung heroes, because in reality, I think if you're the small business owner, let's say like the pizza shop,
Yeah.
every day you're thinking like, okay, I got to make pizzas today, and with special sauce, and where are we
Right.
at with the ingredients, and what are we going to do, and what's going to be next month's special, and are we serving customers at the counter, on and on and on. You have this huge agenda of items you have to cover in a day just to operate your business.
Yep.
But before I ever step in the pizza shop, there's all this stuff that actually has to happen, right? I have to know about you and get interested, and maybe you have to run a special offer, or maybe you have to connect me with your business, and all of those things happen before any of your sort of things you sort of wake up and think about occur. And I just don't think the small business owner has more time in the day to add that onto their list.
They
The
don't.
marketing agency is absolutely the key ingredient there. No small business you take any small business and you take them, put them head to head, and one has a marketing agency and the other doesn't. The one without is going to lose.
Yeah.
Because you need someone who can focus all the time.
Yeah, hands down. It's one of those things, and being in business development as long as I have, that was always one of my biggest concerns, is how do I get you to work on your business rather than in it? When I worked with really small businesses,
Impossible, I think.
it's not possible to do it on your own. The biggest thing that I ran into was pride and ego. But right after that, it was basically just not enough time. There wasn't enough time in a day. You could give them 30 hours in a day, and it just won't change for them.
In fact, if anything, I think marketing agencies can move you towards that goal, because if you think about the reason why there's no time, it's because there's limited margin, because they don't have a customer generation system that's pouring more customers and helping grow their business. They need to get to a certain size to escape it. But I think because they think, oh, hiring a marketing agency is expensive, I'll try to do this myself. They get stuck in this ugly cycle where they can't break free.
And they begin to get into a mindset that no matter what I do, whether I hire an agency or not, it's not going to work.
Right.
And they begin to look for sure, yeah, pitch me, go ahead, and I'll wait for it to fail. If you can catch a business owner of that size early, like out the gate, and go, look, you're making an investment, do it smartly, do it here now. And here are the times where you want to really invest in your marketing rather than trying to do it yourself.
Right.
Again, unfortunately, I ran into a lot of those that they just didn't get it.
Oh yeah.
The ones that did, and we built funnels we built advertising or coupons or things of that nature, just giving them the right strategy.
Programs, yeah. You name it.
They got to the level where they could finally hire an agency and I could let them go, because they got too big for me. And I'm just a single guy at the time. It's like, now I have something where I've been working with million plus with the technologies that we have. We're talking to companies that are 10 million plus. We got an identity resolution. I'm sure one of these days you and I can have a discussion about that.
Oh yeah. Identity resolution. Is that like figuring out who I am, or like figuring out if I fall in a certain bucket, like veterans, or
even better?
Oh, okay, cool.
And we can chat more about it.
I was going to say, there's a company. Do you know the company Sheer ID?
I've heard the name. You know the company Live. You've heard of Axiom and LiveRamp?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have one of those.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
and we're we're a lot more affordable than they are.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
And I've had wonderful conversations with Axiom. LiveRamp, eh.
Yeah.
but the idea of that is like one of the things that we want to bring to agencies is the ability to take this data to their clients as well, because we take it directly to our clients. But this platform,
Yeah.
giving us the funnel, allows me to be able to say, look, you don't have time to build that. Let me build that. I'm already giving you the data, so I already know how to do your ads. I got that covered. Let me build this for you. Let me show you that the whole thing goes like this, and we'll optimize it together.
Yeah.
That way, it's not a disjointed thing where I'm just giving data to the client and praying for rain. And if they don't know what they're doing, you know how this works. If they don't know what the hell they're doing, it's good money after bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So again, this will be the interesting thing. Yeah. So for us, we're getting deep into this right now with dynamic attribution.
Nice.
For visitors. So like we just launched a feature where, if you come in from an ad a Google ad or a Facebook ad or whatever, we can then map the customer journey from that visit all the way through to the opportunity to the actual revenue close. And so I truly think that, in the next couple of weeks, I can also start showing people this, but we can give you ROI down to the ad level. And I think from an agency's perspective, that's a great way to optimize the ads. But on the customer side, it's a way to connect the dots between the money I'm spending on ads and the customers I'm getting, the actual money I'm getting for that, right? We'll see how it all works out. I mean, even on the marketing agency side, I think it's a fairly sophisticated sort of thing to do. So we'll see what the uptake is and how well people can process it. This is one of the things I think is most challenging about like big data, right? It's the idea that, yeah, all the data is out there, but can you really make sense of it? And can you use it in a palatable way where you can just get what you need and move on? So I think that's actually the bigger challenge here, not necessarily the technology piece.
No, yeah, I would agree with you on that. It's always been a challenge for marketers to be able to prove ROI, because unless everybody in the pipe is completely subscribed to the fact that we are looking to create a revenue stream here that is profitable, not everybody's going to remember to say, where'd you find us? Right. How'd you come to us? Who referred you? Did you find us online? Did you find us from Facebook? Did you find us on Google? They forget all of this stuff, and it's because it's business. Business moves.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. We have that challenge in our business. If I look day to day, if I look at a customer, I want an easy way to say like, wait, where did you come from?
Yeah.
And I think if you could give that to business owners, it'd be huge.
Usually, and that the way we did it, unfortunately, was post transaction.
Of course.
When you were asking for reviews.
Yeah.
And even then, obviously, not every.
Yeah, the accuracy is terrible. I mean, yeah, it's super hard.
Yeah, but that was the way to do it in the old days. I mean, Jesus, back in the days of Mad Men, if you remember those days, 60s and 70s, nobody knew.
No, absolutely. Well, 12%. Marketing was just a best effort kind of thing. And really I think it was more about impressing the client. It's like whenever I see a billboard around town, I think, I bet you that business owner really loves their name up in lights, but who the heck knows how many people are they getting from that?
So we have billboards around town that have a lot of personal injury attorneys.
Yeah.
I like to call them.
That's ego.
I like to call them the billboard boys.
Yeah.
And the reason I actually know a couple of them, and they're great guys. And I'm like, does it really generate you that much business?
Doesn't generate anything.
You're paying $3,500 to get a phone call.
Yeah, I know. It's a ridiculous waste.
Yeah. It's like most of your business is it's probably coming from somebody else going, hey, call so-and-so.
Or people going on Google and searching personal injury attorney. That's where, I mean, the thing about what I love about attorneys in AdWords is nobody Googles attorney for fun. So when you do,
that's the best part.
Extraordinarily high intent. I mean, it's the perfect keyword in AdWords. I mean, and they all say, well, it's super expensive. Of course it's super expensive, but that's the point. The reason it's super expensive is because those leads are worth a lot. And if you have a great system to capture and close them, then you should be able to clean up. I mean, the guys who consistently perform in AdWords under those keywords, they make a ton of money because they're taking those leads in and their close rates are super high and they're able to ROI out even on those super high click costs.
It's interesting though, what you just brought up with something that, and again, this goes back to using the right system for intake, which would be a funnel.
Yeah.
Even if somebody doesn't do the click to call, if there's a follow-up trigger, which I know is possible now, if there's a follow-up trigger that sends a note over to the person going, hey, you clicked, but you hung up, or you didn't finish filling out the form or something.
Yeah.
and it starts dripping on them,
Yep.
they've got a chance to still get that phone
Oh,
call.
gosh, yes, absolutely. The fortune's in the follow-up, right? I mean, if somebody bothers to engage with you, even to the least extent, the likelihood that they're a potentially good customer is pretty high.
Yeah.
And I think I think what people don't sort of, when you live in your business every day, you know a lot about it, right? You know, like, and you know about a lot about your competitors too, right? So you know, like, who's really a good lawyer in town and who's really not.
Yeah.
But all of your consumers have no clue who's a really good lawyer and who's not. And by the way, they have no time to figure it out. They just need to get in, make a decision, and move on because they've got other things they're doing in their lives, right? They're not personal injury attorneys. They just need one.
You make a real good point. Do you remember? I think it was in 2000 and it was either 2007 or 2008, maybe even later. There was that report that Google put out called the 0 point.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It was a report talking about how people are now, and you've made a very good point because it shifted from that just within a couple of years. That the zero moment, that moment of decision that's made because somebody, the soccer moms, the consumer is already online researching. They're smarter buyers these days.
Right.
They've got their research done. They know what's out there. They know what's available. So when they come to your business, they're looking for a deal. And now it's gotten to the point where even that's too busy. So I may see you, but I may not have the time to decide right now.
Right.
That zero moment hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So now what are you going to do? And all of this business goes swirling around in that realm in particular. All this business goes swirling around and it's like a roulette shoot. You know, it's,
Yeah.
and I said it that way intentionally. I know it's supposed to be a crapshoot. It's a roulette shoot.
Right.
It really is. If you think about it, because you have no idea unless you have something in place for that follow-up. Cool. You help mainly agencies.
Correct. In fact, I mean, I would say that we only try to help agencies.
Gotcha.
We try to exclude all others.
What would your biggest piece of advice to somebody considering starting an agency? What would your biggest piece of advice be to someone?
Oh, I actually have this down pat. I mean,
I'm glad.
I talk to a lot of new agencies, and what's great about me is I'm not an agency, but I've spoken about 5,000 of them.
Yeah.
And I can see a lot of data about their agencies. So
Sure.
I know the guys who make money and the guys who don't. I know the people who have who make money and there's one person, and I know people who make money and there's 50 of them. So I've got a lot of information. But people who are just getting started, they're by themselves. The two pieces of advice I give is as follows. So pick a niche and stick there. And like right before this podcast, I was on with a guy who's who's working with a big jiu-jitsu studio.
Nice.
Sort of network. And I said, listen, be Mr. Jiu-Jitsu. Like, forget martial arts studios, forget fitness, forget it. Be Mr. Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
So pick a niche and stay there. And the reason why is super simple. Like, first of all, people want to be talked to by someone who has experience with their business. And two, there's a ton of sales strategies and outreach strategies and lead generation strategies that you can create within a tight niche like that scale really, really beautifully. But as second you step outside the niche, they just fall apart, right? Yeah. Like the way you attack personal injury attorneys is different than you attack plumbers.
Yeah.
There's no strategy that works for both as well as the one that works for either. So pick a niche and stick to it. And then the second thing is do everything for your customer. Be their chief marketing officer. So if they say, I need a website, you say, I gotcha. I need PPC, I gotcha. Oh, I need postcards, no problem. And it doesn't mean that you have to do it. And in fact, that's the third piece of advice. Don't do it. Find someone else who can do it. White label that person if you have to. But always be able to say yes, 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 because you become indispensable to a couple of things. One, you're indispensable. So the likelihood that person ever cans you goes way down. And then the amount of money you can charge them goes way up because you do more for them than anybody else. So I find that the people I meet who are on the small side or the big side who make a lot of money, they follow those three key sort of tenets, and they do amazing. So that's my advice. Pick a niche, do everything for your customer, and don't do it all yourself if you're small and just getting started. Outsource it to a white label service provider.
Where were you back in 2006 when I needed you?
Yeah, right.
Now, you said you had a SaaS company before this.
Yeah, I did.
And what did that one do?
It's called Invoice Sherpa. It's still in operation. What it did is it automated reminders out to people to pay their invoices. So you would be shocked to find how many small, medium, and large businesses have insanely huge amounts of accounts receivable, i.e. invoices they've sent or payments they expect to receive and they've gotten payment on. And the simple reality is if you look as to why, the reason why is not because the person on the other end is terrible, broke, or not willing to pay them. They're busy. And so if you simply remind, we did two things. I would remind them to pay if they, and then I would also automate the payments. So,
Nice.
So I would just subsequently get people to agree, hey, okay, yeah, next time you send me an invoice, no problem. Just go ahead and take it out of my bank account or off my credit card. And so we would automate that process.
You basically helped small business become like utilities because they all do.
Well, I just made people money is what I would do. They would come to me with this big old bucket of unpaid bills, and I would go out and I would actually just all of a sudden like rake in a bunch of cash, and it was amazing. They loved it, and
I'm sure they did.
It was all automated. It was cool.
So, shift from business. Let's talk about Shaun.
Okay.
Programmer by nature.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Oh, I love the power of software to affect change in the world. I mean, it was amazing as a kid to watch cursors make the cursor move where I wanted it on the screen or whatever it might be. And then as I got older, it was really cool to see the impact it could have on just people's lives. And then, and so I just kind of went from there.
What was the first computer you ever had?
Apple IIe.
Do you remember the TRS-80?
No, before my time.
So
the first computer I saw probably was an 8086.
Yeah, the first computer I saw was back in '84. So just a couple years before you, that was the TRS-80, which were the old LCD, LED screens, but the CRT version, the green.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, my Apple IIe was the 8086 was a green screen. I think my Apple IIe was fancy. It had color.
That was the first one. That was the first color because the 2C was the one before that didn't have.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that's where that game Oregon Trail came from.
Oh yeah. Oh,
the original Oregon Trail was on the 2C, if I remember correctly.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That was a fun game.
Yeah, it was. Well, for us, it was like, holy cow, this is cool. You know,
oh, yeah.
Strategy games were never like that. We only had Dungeons and Dragons before that. That's all you had.
Exactly.
Books and dice. So over the years, as you were going through all of that, you stayed. What kept you in like moving towards programming? Because being a programmer versus being a builder versus being a tech versus, I mean,
yeah,
it was just that fascination with.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. So I have ADHD, and I think
programming just like me. God.
Yeah, so I think I think that programming lent itself really well because it wasn't physical by nature, so it didn't require. So my mom was a mechanical engineer, and what I think because I was so. I could cycle really quickly, but I'm very, very poor with detail. So if you're going to build something physical, that's not a good combination. Like you can't I built the bridge and then it collapsed. And so but then I figure out what was wrong and I rebuilt it and it collapsed again. And you can't just keep waffling back and forth, but
right.
With computers, software could iterate extremely fast. So yeah. I was never the most concise or well-planned or perfectly executed developer, but I could just cycle extraordinarily fast. And as a result, it was, and that's the fun part about computers. Like you can build a bridge in a computer and fall down as much as you want.
Yeah.
And you don't have to give it to people until it's done and you can drive on it. And so it was fun to be able to do that. And I think computers and software lent
totally
with that. And it was, so it was fun.
The resource is all up here.
Yeah.
And in physical energy, not in resource energy. So no, that makes sense. Yeah, I have a joke as much as, and it's kind of real. It's OCD. I'm OCD ADD.
Okay.
It has to be perfect, just not for long.
Right. Exactly.
So, and that kind of holds me up on some of my campaigns every once in a while. But
I was going to say I have the exact opposite problem. I'm not OCD at all. I'm just ADHD. So I just whip it out there quick and say, good luck. I hope it all works out. And I'm not concerned about what happens.
I've learned to kind of let that down a little bit because being that kind of OCD is like, okay, we got to get the damn thing done. Can we finish it? Right. We need to move this now.
Well, I've done the opposite. I've learned to be a little less cavalier. So mostly by working with other people who are smarter and better than me at that. So
yeah, same here. I've worked with a bunch of different people that are, some of them that are the coaches, the life, what do they call them?
No
Motivational, whatever they're called. Guys like David Bear,
gurus.
like, yeah, gurus, the guru nation. Yeah. And it did help, especially when you're talking about being able to focus on one thing. And we're working on multiple projects at the same time. My partner's working on one project, and I've got three others that I'm working on at the same time. So it's like time blocks are just stupid important. Speaking of which, is that how do you run your day? I mean, what's a typical day look like for you?
Oh, I'm really terrible at this. Don't take any advice from me whatsoever. I'm running all over the place. I barely keep a calendar. I tend to be highly reactive in nature. So yeah, don't look to me for good advice there.
And
I don't run my day very well.
and yet you have a highly successful business, which means you've got great partners that got your back.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, what I did in this business that was different than my last is I early on worked with people who were superior in many ways to me in other areas, and together we formed just a very cohesive team.
Well, it sounds like a fun team too. I mean, you guys have
You're
obviously doing what you enjoy. You're living a passion, not a job, which is great. So, so you've gotten this far, in your journey, and you've done well. What's your biggest challenge right now that you're dealing with, business wise?
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't think it's any different than it has been. I think it's the same question as going back to how can I make my customer more successful, and then realizing that my customer is not one monolithic thing, right? I have customers who are going to come in, and 5 minutes ago they decided they're going to be a digital agency. I have customers who have 10 clients who are farther on in their journey, but they're still quite young and they're single owner operators. I have clients who have 100 staff members and 1,000 customers, and how am I going to serve those people? And so I think for us, it's all about, but I would say the most challenging, of course, are going to be people just coming into the platform. How do I get people successful? How do I make somebody successful as fast as possible and help them see that potential in that journey? And then how do I make sure that the resources are in place for them to continue along in their journey with what they're doing? I'd say that's my biggest challenge. If I could just bring somebody off the street and show them in a very short amount of time how to make money, that would be like a beautiful day for me. And that's what we are moving towards every day.
That's an interesting challenge to have too, because you're talking about being able to serve a fairly wide spectrum of clients, size-wise, sophistication.
Yeah.
And
wider than I would have ever imagined.
But
and to be honest, those answers are. That's why it's a challenge. Those answers are still unknown.
Right.
There are days when I think that I should really focus on trying to teach people this. And then there are some days where I think, I really ought to just tell people, I really just ought to make the barriers higher. So actually I just get less of those people in the door to begin with, because in all honesty, it's probably not a great idea to go into the teaching direction. That's why there's all these teachers that are already there. And it's, and honestly, I love when somebody comes to us and says, hey, I'm a student of so-and-so. I love those days, because it tells me, look, they've invested in a course, or they've invested in a method, or they've invested in education. So they're coming to me as a software tool, which is what I would hope they would come to me for. They're not coming to me saying, I don't know how to get clients. Can you help me? Right? That's where the challenges, I think, are. But I still feel for those people. I still love those people, and I still want those people to be successful. So it's a struggle. Yeah,
no, and both of us having the same kind of condition, that becomes a real, who do I help first and how do I help them?
Right.
The fact that these people that made the investment, the students, it's interesting because I know a good portion of those teachers, and they all have variations of philosophies and tips, tricks, hacks, whatever you want to call it. And what's interesting is yours is the first platform that I've seen that actually does serve all of those different philosophies. It doesn't matter who comes to you, as long as they've been through a course.
Yep.
It'll be easy for them to succeed, because they'll recognize what it is that you have. They understand what triggers are. They understand what campaigns, how to set them up, what the flow is. They understand the strategy behind it. You don't have to teach them that stuff.
Right.
And with regards to actually teaching them, there may be a conversation that we can have.
Yeah.
Yeah, only because I have a few friends that design those kinds of things and might have something to put in the back end for you that you don't have to deal with it. Um,
Well, and that's, yeah, I mean, I think that's like, we just recently launched our partners program where if somebody who wants to be listed there can be listed there. And the types of people I want to list there are people like coaches, right? Because I don't want to get into the coaching business. I think
exactly.
it's a definitely, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
I just want every coach to recommend our product. So,
Well, you got
you
us
know,
recommending your product already, and we haven't even really
I
gotten that
appreciate
far
that.
in.
I mean, I think there's a huge. I think what I remind myself every day is that at the heart of it, being a digital marketing agency is a very noble pursuit. It's a very viable pursuit from an economic perspective, and almost anybody can do it. So I think there's a huge opportunity out there for people to go out and help small business be successful. And so we just want to continue to find more and more ways to help those people power those initiatives. And so, while there will be stumbles and there will be setbacks, ultimately just pushing forward is the most important thing.
I think you guys are well underway. I think you guys are going to hit it. It's a freight train. You may or may not see it, but 50,000 in 2 years, that's a freight train, bro.
Yeah. Oh,
So.
I'm with you. I try to remind myself that every day.
Yeah, it's when you're in the trenches in the midst of your own storm, it's always hard to see out of it. I get that one.
Well, lucky for me, we have great customers like you. I mean, we have people every day who reach out and just say, hey, thanks so much, and this has changed my business. And those are the types of things that really help you, right? Because they offset the people who say, this is terrible, or I hate this, or I quit, or I can't understand it, or so I really appreciate how many people have reached out and said positive things, because
Yeah.
I think in life sometimes people don't take, and it's a good reminder to me, like, oh, you know what? I need to reach out and say thank you more, because it really helps that other person on the other side be inspired to do what they do.
You brought up a good point, and this is something that I reinforce with everybody that I talk with as well. Is there's always room for gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We don't do it enough.
Yeah, I agree. We don't. I'm actually going through a 21-day gratitude challenge, and it's been like really eye-opening as to how often we forget.
Right. Totally. Because
Yeah.
we just, as a species, I think we're prone to look for and mine out the negative, which actually, and I think that's the challenge of life. I think people who are the most successful in life tend to turn the negative down more and focus more on the positive, and realize that, negative isn't what defines you. If anything, it's what it may reinforce something. You may learn something from it. It may change the way you operate. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't mean that the world is over or you're a terrible person.
No, not at all. And if in fact, it should encourage you at the fact that there's something going on that's better.
I agree.
Coming. You're going to become more resilient after, which, interestingly enough, that's a perfect segue into what we're dealing with right now. And you're in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you guys, are you guys under lockdown right now?
Oh, I mean, I think everybody is, right? Except Georgia.
Yeah.
As of today.
Yeah. As of today, Georgia's starting to reopen. They're doing it in small phases, thankfully.
Yeah. I think it's hair salons and bowling.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. Well,
I got to tell you, I wish they would do that hair salons. I need a haircut badly.
Just as an aside, if you saw me this morning, this thing looks like a crown. About that high.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got your cut today. That's good. Yeah.
No. That's called leave-in conditioner and a lot of combing.
Gotcha. Yeah. I attempted an at-home haircut. It didn't go well. So but it was also a good reinforcement. It's like when people say, oh, I need a small business owner, like, oh, I don't need a marketing agency. I can do that myself. It's easy. The best thing you can do is just go try it. Right. So now when I go see my hair salon or whatever, my barber, I'm going to drop her a 50, because just to say thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
For all of the hard work, because clearly her skill is unappreciated.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of times we have a tendency to take for granted. It is what it is. But being that you guys are in lockdown, what kind of things, where do you see business headed? I mean, we talk about how good it is because we have software, we have online, and there are some businesses that are still thriving just fine. Tech is one of them. Health and
I don't know.
farm.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I just read this morning, tech job postings are down I think almost 50% over last month.
Wow, that's big.
And that's a field in the last 5 years where, if you just claim you can write code, you can get a job.
Yeah.
Let alone actually be able to do it. So, I mean, I think there are impacts all over the economy, but I do agree with you. Tech is certainly impacted less than other places. If you own a gym right now, things are tough.
You have nothing. If you have a gym, you're done. It's over.
Well, maybe we got some plans there.
Cool.
So let's talk about what we're seeing.
Okay.
So I would say, and this is actually our biggest thing that we're working on right now. We're actually gonna have this out next week.
Nice.
We're gonna be launching memberships.
Oh, cool.
And which is back to your info products concept. But what we're seeing, right, is we're seeing this evolution. So first of all, if you are a business that is shut down, like a gym, you need, there's what we see is there's sort of two lanes of travel. So you've got people who take the, I'm over, I'm done, I'm going to shut down, I'm going to close my doors, I'm going to hope it all blows over kind of approach. And I think that's terrible, because the other approach is, you know what? Yeah, this sucks. I'm not going to make a lot of money, but you know what? I need to stay out in front of my customers. And so what everybody who I think is intelligent right now is doing and motivated is creating a digital product of some kind that they can sell. And many of those products, by the way, make them no money, and are at best break even. But what they're designed to do is create presence. Because what we all know is that one way or another, this will end.
It's gonna subside eventually.
Next month, it may not, maybe it won't be all over till next year, but one way or another, it's going to end. And the person that you're going to remember, from the gym to the to the chiropractor to the whoever, is the person you engage with during this time when you're quarantined, right? And so when things do open back up and you do think, oh yeah, I want to get back in the gym, you're going to go to the gym that you were using that had a digital product in your area that you were consuming. That's where you're going to go. So that's a massive win for that gym, right? I think but I think this is going to carry over. So I think every small business is going to learn that they need to create a digital product, period. Yep. So that and if nothing else, as a way to drive leads and interest and to create value at a lower price level, so that they can upsell people into their higher services. So for us right now, we see it as an adaptation. But I think in the long term, I would tell any business owner, look, have a digital product, sell it locally, like sell it regionally, like sell it in a way, you don't necessarily have to make it to some you don't have to be some online guru of chiropractic, right?
Right.
But you can focus you could run Facebook ads in your region, targeting people who you could eventually bring into your office with something that they could do that's low dollar amount, instant gratification, and it creates the capture step. And you get a little revenue through the door to offset the Facebook ads. And then you use that course or that digital product to then upsell that person into a more long-term, ongoing sort of relationship.
One of the interesting things that you mentioned there is something that we've kind of advocated. Dan and I were talking about this too when it came to like the restaurants. Right now, the restaurants, many of them are closed.
Yeah.
What they need to be doing is they need to be sharing their recipes. They need to be.
I agree with that. Create connection. Yeah.
And consistently be out in front of them, and being able to create an educated customer makes them feel, one, they feel more empowered. They feel more important. They feel more like they're important to you because you took time to actually do that education and give them information that they don't have to go to WebMD to go and learn. They don't have to go to someplace else. They just know to look in their inbox or wait for a text or something like that. Hey, today when you're sitting, don't forget, sit up straight. A message from your local chiropractor.
Simple stuff like that.
Chiro does that. Nobody does. I mean,
everybody, and I don't care what it is that you do, there's something that you can teach.
Yep.
And it can be simple, it can be easy, it can be whatever. But I think it's about creating human connection and creating that connection with your customer. And I think it's about giving more than taking. And I think people will remember that. I mean, many people right now, you have to realize, are out of a job, they have no money coming in, they're broke, they can't afford groceries, so they can't afford to be buying your $997 super course. But if you're giving away something for free or something extremely low cost, I think that's something that they can appreciate, and it creates connection. It makes them feel important. It makes them feel like they belong to something. That makes them feel less isolated. Yeah. And so I think that they will always remember that, and I think they'll create a lot of loyalty and love for you when this is all over and they do get their job back and they do have money in their pocket. They'll remember that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that a lot of what we're experiencing right now, within this time frame of being, either under the stay-at-home or self-quarantine or what have you, we have a lot of people that are sitting around with a lot of extra time, and that opens the door for two things: either one, depression and anxiety because they have nothing to do, or two, you being in their face, giving them some happy joy for the morning, for the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you want your customer to do?
Yeah, you can only watch so much Netflix. I mean, if you're really just sitting at home doing nothing, I mean, and by the way, that's never been healthy. I mean,
No, not at all.
it's never been healthy. It wasn't healthy back when, it was just two channels on, and the TV went clunk clunk when you changed the channel, and it's not healthy
Exactly.
now, right?
Yeah.
It's healthier to be out doing things, and if you can't, like doing some weird stretches or some weird exercises, or meditation or back stretches, or cooking, or try to do a recipe, like you name any of those activities, and they were healthy before we were in lockdown, and they're even healthier now, because you're right. There's very few alternatives. There's less social exposure. You're just not even getting outside. I mean, these are wonderful things. So I think right now, every small business, every business period needs to be engaging in this type of stuff. And if they're not, they're just asking to get just run over, because when things open back up, like I can think of 2 or 3 restaurants that I bought food from during lockdown that I'd never been to before.
Right.
Been to before. And why? It's because they were open. They were like, hey, we've got takeaway, we've got, whatever. And so now, gosh, okay, but that was an experience. That was good. I remember them. I've now tasted their food. So wait, the next time when I'm open, I might think, oh, well, I'll go back there, right? Whereas before I wouldn't have known them, and I would have gone somewhere else.
Yeah, it's and you got to be smart about that, guys. If you're a business owner and you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, think about this, okay? That time, and I think what's the guy's name from Bar Rescue? They have that TV show. That guy goes in and he redoes a whole bar.
Oh gosh, there's a lot of those now.
he's from New York. He did a thing, and I think it was on Gary V's podcast, where he actually laid out a strategy on how to get people to come back. So it wasn't just they came in and they sat down. It's like you give them a coupon, they sit down, you put a red napkin on the table that tells everybody this is their first time in the restaurant. They better
get that's cool.
As possible. Now, if you think about that and translate that over into a curbside, like you were mentioning, imagine if somebody came in and they bought, and you looked at them and went, "Is your first visit? It's your first visit. Hey, this is on us. Here's a coupon. Come back after all of this is done. It'll be valid the whole time whenever you want to come back."
Yeah.
And then be ready to serve that. And what that does is that gets you immediate loyalty, immediate affinity, and it gets you a future customer.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, so
that's a very smart strategy.
And you can do that. It doesn't matter what business you're in. You can do that with any business. If you just got to figure out where and when to put it. Yeah, so it makes absolute sense. That. So, you think we're gonna make it?
Oh, I think we'll be just fine. I mean, I think we've been through worse, and I think this will
we
this
have
will blow over in time. I mean,
we have actually,
on the scale of things, this is really a minor bump in the road, all things considered.
Yeah, we've been through. So on the health side, we've been through 4 of these in our lifetime, you and me, at least 4, potentially more. Economically, we've been through 3.
Yeah.
Seriously 3, and a slight in between one back in the 90s. I too see it as we're going to be coming out of it.
Oh yeah, I'm not even worried.
Not everybody's going to be smelling like roses, but
totally. And I think that's the most important thing to realize. Yeah.
That's okay. There's going to be some changes. Life is going to switch. I teach business etiquette. And one of the biggest things right now is everybody's like, well, what about shaking hands? I'm like, well, you better be carrying some hand sanitizer, huh?
Yeah, right.
That's the big change.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was going to say, right now it's, although, again, I think the thing about this is a year from now, I think this just
it'll normalize. Yeah, everybody's gonna look back at it and go, oh my gosh, we really did lock ourselves down hard. And it's like, well, yeah, at the time it was necessary.
Yeah.
It's no longer that necessary. We've grown our antibodies. George Carlin did a thing, and if I can ever find the link, remind me, I'll send it to you. But he actually talks about it in one of his stand-ups about we're humans and our bodies were designed to fight viruses. The thing is, we need practice.
Right.
This is one no human has ever had practice with, this particular version of this. This is why it's so deadly and so, and it's highly infectious and all that kind of stuff. So it's serious, it's real. We just never had any chance to practice on it. About a year from now, most of the population will have already had that. And the people that have actually gone through it, from what I understand, and I've heard from a couple of people that have actually had it, they're like, it sucks. It's bad. It's worse than the flu. You get some shit runs on it, but you get through it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, you had to have been extremely healthy. And what's funny was one of them's a smoker.
Yeah.
And she made it through. And she's like, yeah, it sucked bad. I didn't smoke, but I'm smoking again. That's fine. I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. So anyway, Cool. We've been on for about an hour, bro.
Hey, not bad. We did it.
He's usually only run for about 40 minutes.
Oh, good. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So I really want to thank you for investing the time here
Yeah,
and
likewise.
hanging out. I can't wait to see where this is all going to go. I mean, obviously
Me too.
we're very excited to see where this heads, and definitely looking forward to working together with your company and of course servicing our clients. But Shaun, I want to thank you for coming and spending your time as well, sharing your insights and your knowledge with my listeners and everybody that hangs out over here having a cup of coffee. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Now, Shaun, let everybody know, where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. Well, me probably on Facebook these days, but yeah, just go find GoHighLevel, and I mean that's all that really matters. To be honest, I'm a minor player in this. GoHighLevel.com is probably the best place to start, and go from there. And then if you don't want to sign up yet, you want to just see more about us, we have a great YouTube channel with tons of awesome content. And the other thing more exciting about our YouTube channel, honestly, is we have a ton of marketers on there talking about how they work and what they do, even outside of high level. So it's a cool place to go check out some really useful, valuable content.
You just gave a bunch of people some good inspiration. If you guys are not, if you didn't hear what he just said, go look at the successful agencies. They are giving you what they do.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you how to run an agency and you're just about to get started, or you need some pointers or stuff like that, go to their YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm assuming the channel is GoHighLevel.
Yeah, it's just HighLevel, one word.
HighLevel, one word on YouTube.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Make sure you guys go there. That's the end, guys. Thanks again for having a cup of coffee with us. We're hanging out, and it's just real simple. As you can see, we love talking with business owners. We love talking with entrepreneurs. We share our stories. We share our challenges. We share our solutions. Make sure that you're out there sharing yours. Make sure you're staying at the top of mind. And I love you guys. I always do. Thanks for following. Thanks for listening. Take care, and we'll talk with all of you guys real soon. Ciao for now.